In this episode, we are kicking off Forgotten February by taking a look at some 70s playsets. So, stick around. Fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name is Rob, and in this episode, we are starting to celebrate Forgotten February. Now, I know most of the stuff that we cover on this channel is forgotten, but this gives me an opportunity to go completely across the board. We'll be talking about forgotten 70s, 80s, 90s, everything from toys, board games, video games, a little bit of everything. And that's what I like to do. Kind of dabble in a little bit of everything that is forgotten in the realm of fun stuff. Like I said, toys, board games, video games, what have you. So, let's kick things off with this first episode in Forgotten February with a look at some forgotten 70s playsets. This is the second time we've taken a look at these playsets, and there's some really awesome ones throughout the 70s. So, without further ado, let's take a look at some of them now. Our first playset is kind of cheating, because it's not so much a playset as it's an adventure pack. And as the box states, it is a first aid high adventure set. But I can't help myself when it comes to this toy line because I find it so oddball. And the fact that I'd never heard of it before until I started researching 70s toys. Because this was something that was kind of near and dear to my heart growing up. And that's the Boy Scouts. This is Danger at Snake River. Released by Kenner in 1974, this first aid high adventure set came with everything you would need to save one of your Boy Scout buddies that was injured on the hiking trail of Snake River. You got everything from a gurney, some makeshift crutches, an oxygen tank and mask, a first aid kit, ropes, splints, stickers, a comic book, a lantern. This thing has a little bit of everything for, like I said, when you injure yourself out on that old Snake River. I don't know where Snake River is, but it must be pretty dangerous if Boy Scouts are, breaking legs and arms and need oxygen and what have you. Now, I actually found a really awesome commercial that I'm not going to attach to this because it covers a wide variety of the Boy Scouts toy line, but it kind of missed including this one. So I'm going to save that commercial for another day. Now, this playset goes for a pretty hefty sum, up to $125. And I would assume it's because it has so many little accessories that they've been lost over the decades of its release. Like I said, this is a toy line that I probably would have really enjoyed growing up. I was a Cub Scout and worked my way up to Boy Scout, and that was a pretty fun time in my life. Would I go camping now? Heck no. But I kind of enjoyed it when I was a kid. But anyway, even though it's not a traditional play set that we like to talk about, I think it's pretty cool. Our second playset comes from a franchise that I really didn't have any exposure to growing up. I knew it was out there, and both the shows were kind of in my pop culture brain, but like I said, I wasn't exposed to it or ever watched it. I can't really say I've ever watched either one of these shows at all, even as an adult. But anyway, this comes from the Bionic Woman toy line, released by Kenner in 1976, and this is the Bionic Beauty Salon. Now, this is a place where the Bionic Woman can touch up her makeup and get repairs to her bionic pieces. Now, the thing that intrigued me when I was researching and picking items for this list was just this rat nest of wires this thing has. Now, I'm not 100% sure if these wires actually go into, what's her name, Jamie Summers, or you just flip them around just for the whole bionic experience. I'm not sure. It has levers and everything else. I don't know if they have any features other than being levers that are cool that you can flip up and down. Now, she comes with kind of a, looks like a plastic lawn chair that she can lay in. You would think that, I would assume she's about $6 million as well. They could afford a better chair for her. Especially if it's a salon. I mean, don't they have those cool leather bound chairs and everything? Anyway, this came with a hairdryer, brush, comb, mirror, computer strips, everything a young woman on the town needs to maintain her beauty and her bionics. Now, I can remember this ad from some older comic books, so I kind of have a recollection of that, but as far as this as a whole, don't really remember it at all. Now, it goes for a pretty fair price when you consider all of the bells and whistles this thing has to offer and the pieces that it can lose. And as far as bells and whistles, I mean a rat's nest of wires that you can put in little holes and stuff like that. Anyway, as a cool little bonus, I found the original 1976 commercial, so let's hope it explains things a lot better than I did.
Kenner's new Bionic Woman Jamie Summers and the new Bionic Beauty Salon, sold separately, assembly required.
Jamie Summers had a rough mission. We better check her bionic system. She's okay. Steve Austin will be here soon. I'll brush and comb her beautiful hair. He's here! She's ready!
The Bionic Beauty Salon, new from Kenner. The Bionic Woman, sold separately.
Our next playset is one that you can actually build yourself and interlock it with others in the toy line. This is from Mego. This is the Micronauts Interplanetary Headquarters. Now, this thing comes with a lot of pieces, and Micronauts is a pretty sought-after collectible, so it goes for a pretty penny. I mean, we usually talk about that part at the end, but I'm throwing it in now because the fact that it has so many pieces, so many things can get lost, and the fact that people out there still have all the pieces on the little trees, you know, that you can snip out, is amazing. Now, as the box states, it has 186 parts, and those include little wall sections, stilt legs for it to stand up on, a seat for your Micronauts to sit on, a plastic dome, an elevator. I mean, this thing has a little bit of everything, and the fact that you can build it pretty much any way that you want makes it a pretty awesome playset. And like I mentioned, it actually interlocks with the two other Micropolis playsets. I think I'm pronouncing that right. You know who would tell us if I'm pronouncing it right or not? The original commercial from 1978.
From the world of the Micronauts, Micropolis, a totally new concept in building sets. With these snap-together connectors, your child can easily create dozens of space-age wonders. There are 3 Micropolis sets. Each combines with the other, and with all other Micronaut toys. So he can build anything from a space tower to a galactic fortress, to an entire city complete with monorail. As Micropolis grows, so does your child's imagination. Micropolis by Mego.
Our fourth forgotten playset from the 70s comes from Mego again. This time it's from the Comic Action Heroes toy line that was released in, again, 1976. perfect year. It was the year I was born. It was probably a year a lot of you were born, that bicentennial year. But anyway, this is Superman's Fortress of Solitude. Now, I have to be fair in saying this. This is more of a Justice League headquarters than it looks to be a Fortress of Solitude. I don't see any ice. I don't see a giant key. No, I just see computer banks, a meeting table with plenty of chairs, and like I said, computer banks with awesome pictures on the screen. Except for this one. Seems to be a nondescript archer in the background that is definitely not green. Anyway, the artwork that it features looks like Neil Adams' Batman and an Aquaman picture. I mean, a little bit of everything is kind of shown up on these screens, and I think that's pretty awesome. And like I said, there is a table with chairs. There's also an exploding mechanism with a plunger device, and I'm not 100% sure where or what this went to, but I see it in a lot of the pictures and listings. I guess this exploding thing could be one of the walls crumbles, maybe it's the door that can be blasted off, I don't know, but it does definitely have a play feature that has an explosive mechanism, so I think that's pretty cool as well. Now, the one thing about this picture with the table and chairs is, how come Wonder Woman's the only one not sitting? It's kind of like they're looking at her going, you know, go get us some coffee. I mean, this was the 70s, so, you know, things like that were apropos. Doesn't fly nowadays, of course, and thankfully so, but yeah, poor Wonder Woman, what's up with that? Anyway, out of all the things on this list, this is definitely the most expensive. And I don't think it's because of missing pieces or anything. I just think that comic book toys are a high demand collectible no matter what decade or era they come from. So this probably goes for such a high price because there's definitely Superman collectors out there wanting to get their hands on one. Our fifth and final Forgotten 70s playset comes from Hasbro in 1976. Like I said, it's a great year. This comes from the Weebles toy line, and this is the Tarzan playset. Now, I was only lucky enough to have one Weebles set growing up, and a few various Weebles from other playsets that somehow I got, probably through Goodwill or whatever. So, yeah, I love that playset, and Weebles has a soft spot in my heart. Now, this Tarzan playset looks absolutely awesome. This looks to be a playset that you could probably use for a lot of your toys at the time. I mean, if you still had this thing by the time Return of the Jedi came out, Ewoks could be hanging out in this thing. But this playset came with, of course, two little Weebles. You had Tarzan and his monkey sidekick. Not Cheetah, though. The commercial will explain that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this is actually a repaint of an earlier Weebles set that came out in 1974, the Winnie the Pooh Treehouse. And as you can see from these pictures, other than the colors and signage, they're very similar. Now, this has a little elevator, some, like I said, signage on the walls, different pictures and things, little table and chairs. This is a pretty nice little playset, and it doesn't go for a big amount of money online. You can actually pick up individual pieces for a little bit less than the sum of the whole thing. But even those little pieces go for a little bit of money. Now, this is definitely something I would love to get. Like I said, Weebles have a soft spot in my heart. And it's definitely something that would be fun to collect. So who knows, maybe one day down the road, I'll jump on the Weebles bandwagon. But until that day, let's take a look at this awesome commercial, and I'll see you after the break.
Imagine playing your Tarzan with Nakima, a funky friend. when the Weebles hiding from Tarzan.
Tarzan Weebles.
You can find him in the Tarzan jungle hut. Imagine living in a Tarzan jungle hut, swinging on a vine just to get around. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Tarzan Jungle Hut comes with everything you see here. New from Romper Room. Some assembly required.
Okay, everybody, that was a look at 5 forgotten 70s playsets. And like I said, this is the second time we've talked about this topic, and I see plenty of opportunities to talk about it again in the future, because there were definitely a lot of playsets in the 70s. It's actually quite shocking. A lot of the toy lines had multiple playsets, and these are toy lines that didn't have a lot of oomph behind it. I mean, no comic books, no TV shows, none of the things that we were accustomed to in the 80s. These are just toys, and that purity is pretty awesome. I mean, I love that we grew up in the 80s and we're like bombarded with everything. Cartoons, comic books, toys, candy, trading cards, boom, 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 boom. That was awesome. But there's something so, like I said, pure about it's just a toy. And it didn't have anything anchoring it other than kids have fun with it. They created their own stories, and that's pretty awesome. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this, or any of the other episodes that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. Hit that little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's new episodes. So anyway, until next time, thank you so much for watching. Keep being rad, and stay dorky!